And then they're also offering relief, which I think was huge. You know, they said they set $50 million aside to help for the next year and a half for back rents and rents going forward to help the renter, which I think then helps the mom and pop type of a owner.
Right.
They were really the ones that I think were getting hit hard with this, because most people were like, well, you still have to pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
But your tenant doesn't have to pay their rent. Well, how does that work?
Yeah. Well, and a bunch of them, mon pause, but especially the big national property owners, they went out and got a bunch of those PPP loans, right, to help float through any period of difficulty. But didn't we? I mean, Chase, we soon found out that, you know, tenants not paying rent, that was very much a localized thing, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think for Utah, it was just a short period of time. The thing I think about with this subject here is you try to put yourself in other people's shoes, right? You have the mom and pop, or you have the investor that most likely has a mortgage and they need to make their mortgage payments. And so they're counting on that tenant or that renter to pay their monthly mortgage. And so when they don't, that really could put them in a bad spot and get them in trouble. But then you also want to sympathize or think about that tenant or the renter that might be put in a bad situation, laid off, fired, sicknesses. We got a bunch of things going on. And you want to sympathize, and they need that relief or that help as well.
When we talk about affordable housing, you know, Section 8, right? That's all about where you're working out of, right? The county and local municipality, because the money gets allocated federally, but it gets dispersed on the local level, and some of them are good at it. Some of them absolutely are not, you know. So we'll see how this goes with the rental assistance side of things. But man, if you look at landlording just the cold, hard way, and this is hard because these are people's lives, right? I've had times in my life where money's just not falling out of the sky. It's hard to make rent, hard to make a mortgage. That's tough for somebody. I mean, that's a real person on the other end of this. But if we step out of that, we go, okay, Bobby Sue didn't pay rent. It's the 5th of the month. Bobby Sue has a problem. Pay up or get out. I mean, that's the black and white of it, as insensitive as that sounds. Mm-hmm. The difference here wasn't Bobby Sue has a problem. It's we both have a problem, right? The market just completely went haywire. And so that, you know, that high level of empathy that property managers had of, well, you can't pay your rent. What can you pay? Let's work with you. And I helped a client analyze a rent roll the other day where one of the units, rent dropped off the table, right? Wasn't coming in. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, it was, but it was a little higher. Dug into it. What was that? Oh, it was an abatement. They said, don't pay for these 3 months. We're going to catch you up over time. And that turned out to work really, really well, especially in some of these markets where there are jobs where a tenant said, I lost my job or my pay has been really cut. I need some time to land, right? Because what were you going to do? Right? Where are you going to rent? Now, it turns out that in the markets that we operate in, there's just a shortage of rental inventory. And I think it's because of COVID-19, people coming out of places where they don't want to be and going to places where they do want to be, that migration pattern.
Yeah. I also think we hit that sweet spot too with where the rents are, what a tenant's willing to pay. I've noticed we try not to shoot to build something. We could, but we're not building a super nice A-class building where we need to ask $2,000, $3,000 or more for rent per month. And we're not super low either. We kind of fall right in between there. And so it's understanding the investment, your type of property that you're purchasing, and then what your tenant's going to look like and what they need to pay per month and if they can make that payment.
Yeah, absolutely.